welcome back to Prophotoinsights. Today we're going to turn a rather drab looking colour picture into something very graphic and very strong. This is the finished picture on screen. I'll show you what we started with so you can see the before and after. This is what we started with. It's a picture I did in autumn. There's not a lot of colour in the shot. It's very monochromatic to begin with. If we'd had some strong low light in the shot, it would have at least picked up some nice textures on the ploughed field in the foreground, but we didn't. But I thought it would make a good example of how you can transform something like this into a very strong graphic black and white image and actually add the colouring that you want into the shot. So I'm going to take you through this image step by step. Here's our image on screen. It's a 16-bit TIFF file at the moment. If you ever you're watching in my videos and you happen to look up here and you see RGB 8-bit, basically that's just that I've converted the layer to 8-bit while I'm working on it. If it's a very large file, then obviously I don't want to slow down the computer too much. So, but I always work in 16-bit as a rule. Anyway, so first thing we need to do is to add a black and white adjustment layer. Now I'm using CS3, so we have a black and white option in the layers palette. If you haven't, just convert it any way you can to black and white, preferably with an adjustment layer. So probably the channel mix is your best bet. I'm just going to just OK that and leave that there. I just want to, you'll see why, just add that in just to give me a starting point. Now I want to go into channels panel adjustment layer, and add a channel mixer, and make sure that is below your black and white layer. Now with this, I just want to basically adjust the and increase the contrast in the ground here and the background hills. So what I'm going to do is drag the red down here and increase my green to kind of counterbalance that, just to bring up the luminosities a bit, and also the blue. So really I'm just ignore all the top half. I just want to add some beef to the bottom half of the image here. So I reckon about there looks good. And again, we just adjust these two layers just to add a bit back in. Now that's not far off what I want, so I'm just going to OK that, and as you can see, it's just added a bit of contrast, extra contrast to the bottom half of the image. Now what we need to do is I just need to go in and just delete the adjustment off the sky. Just highlight the channel mixer layer, get my gradient tool, foreground to black, background to white, and then just drag down the image just to make sure that takes that away. Just come down a bit further, like so, and that takes a lot of the adjustment off the sky bit. Now you can go over the paintbrush tool as well, set the foreground to black, and just make sure it's not so visible at the top, but down towards where the graduation filters out, you might just need to paint a bit back in there. But the gradient tool is a good way, a good starting point, but sometimes, like I said, you need to go over with the brush tool just to make sure you've got it all. Now, just doing that quite crudely. Let's just click the alt click on the layer mask. You can see the adjustment. Let's just go with that. Obviously, got to go around the tree there, but I think that'll probably be okay. Okay, so you can see we're mainly affecting now the lower half of the image, like so. Right, now back to our black and white layer here. We can now have a move around with these settings. There's quite a few presets in here, and I'm going to again go for the red, I think, and just see what that looks like, because like I said, it's quite a flat image and I want plenty of contrast in. That looks better. So let's have a quick look. Okay, so that's a good starting point for us. I just want to quickly clear up what I said about the converting to 16-bit to 8-bit on screen. I only convert to 8-bit when I'm videoing the tutorials, so I just want to clear that up. It may have been a bit confusing. I don't convert to 8-bit while I'm actually retouching. It's only when I'm videoing and showing you the retouching techniques. Anyway, glad that's out the way. Right, so we've had a bit of a play around with the black and white layer, and I'm using the high contrast red filter as I said because I want to really beef up the image. It was quite flat. The next layer I'm going to make another curves adjustment layer, like so, and I just want to darken the sky down a little bit now, just try and balance the picture out a bit more. So I'm just going to drag the curves, don't go too far, curves down like so, just to add a bit more mood to the sky. Again, I don't really want to affect my lower half of the image, so the easiest thing to do is to either use a gradient just to get you started, or just grab the paintbrush tool and go over the lower half of the image with that, like so. You can alt click on the mask to see where you've been if you want to, so you haven't missed too much. Alt click to come back again. I'm just going to make my brush a bit smaller and just make sure. I don't mind the background there, but I don't want too much of the fields affected. I don't want to go too dark at this stage. So yeah, so basically just keep going around the picture like that, and make sure you get the tree as well, but be careful you don't go too far around the edges, like so. So that's pretty much there. You can always do a bit of a Gaussian blur on that, so filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and that just will get rid of any nasty edges that we've left behind by mistake. Alt click. Okay, so you get the idea anyway, just to take away the effect from the lower half. So I just want to really be affecting the sky. So that's pretty good. As long as it's blurred, and you've got no sharp edges. That's the main thing. It should all blend in okay. Like empty layer, and get my paint bucket tool, black as the foreground, and fill that empty layer with black. Change the mode to luminosity, and just drop it down a little touch, about 90%. Add an adjustment layer mask. Sorry, get me layer mask and adjustment layers mixed up. And then we get paint brush tool, foreground to black, and we're going to paint on a layer mask now, and just bring back some of the detail in the image, like so. Don't worry, it looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but hopefully that will sort itself out in a second. Right, so now we need to just drop the opacity of this down a little bit more. Okay, and now we can just finally adjust the mask, paint back in some of the black again. It really helps at this stage if you've got a pressure sensitive pen and tablet, because it just means you can just lightly go over the areas you want. But if you haven't, don't worry. I used a mouse for many years, so it is possible, but it is easy with a pen. Okay, so that just gives like a very dark wash to the image, like so. And that's before, that's after. So it's really dumbed down the image and added a bit of mood, like so. The next thing we're going to do is add a hue and saturation adjustment layer. Where is he? There we go. And make sure you check the colorize box. Now for this I'm going to basically put a bit of a cool wash over the image. So we go to around there. We'll don't want it oversaturated, so we'll drop the saturation down quite a way, something like that. And the lightness layer we can leave alone. Okay, so it's really cooled down the picture. Now our next adjustment layer is a color balance adjustment layer. So we go to color balance, and I'm just going to bring in a bit of a warmth back into the center area of this image. And to do that, I'm going to start on the midtones. I'm going to add a +2 on the cyan. I'm going to leave the magenta and yellow alone. On the shadows, I'm going to do a -4 on the cyan. Leave the magenta alone, and yellow I'm going to go on a +4. A bit fiddly there. Okay, on the highlights, which is the main one, I'm going to go for a +19 or around there for the reds. I'm going to leave the magenta alone, and the yellow I'm going to go -18, like so. Just okay that. Again, we'll do our old trick: paint bucket tool, foreground to black, fill that. Foreground to white, hit the brush tool, and then we can just, on the areas you want, and my main area I want to do is here, just add a bit of warmth back where the lighter clouds are, like so. And it is a bit trial and error, and it's a bit of artistic license. But what the warmth does is basically will again draw your eye to that part of the image. We also want a bit on the floor here, and it just draws the viewer's attention to that part of the image. Okay, so you have to experiment with that. Just go over, select the layer mask again, go filter, blur, and you just add a little bit of blur in. Now, we're using soft brushes, but you know it's always good just to make sure you've got no nasty lines anywhere. And if you're not happy with anything, obviously select black as a foreground colour, or just click on the X on your keyboard. And that, if you look here, I'm clicking X on the keyboard, and it just toggles the foreground and background. And then obviously, if you're not happy with something, you can just go back over and change that. So that's that layer sorted out. The next thing I'm going to do is again go back in again and add a bit more contrast to the foreground. So curves adjustment layer. And again, I'm mainly interested in just this part, so add a bit more black, and then just put your cursor over. You can see where you need to click on the curve there. So just need to add contrast there, like so. That's really bringing it out. Now what I'm going to do with this is change the luminosity, change the layer blending mode to luminosity, because I don't want it to affect the colour too much. And by putting it on luminosity, we can do that. If I put it back to normal, if you watch the colour, we're affecting the colour, and it's gone a lot more blue. So little trick, keep it on luminosity and it won't affect the colour too much. Okay, so again, fill that with black with a paint bucket tool, foreground to white, pen tool, and we can just go and paint in the adjustment where we want it, and it's mainly the foreground here, like so. Just adds a bit more contrast there, like so. Okay, and that's that for that bit. Right, yet another curves layer, and I'm just going to darken again the whole image, like so. And paintbrush tool, set to black, and again we're just going to selectively. Actually, what we'll do it slightly different because it's a larger area. I'm going to draw a bit of a freehand selection on roughly the areas I want to lighten again. So we're going to fill that now with black. Select, deselect, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and we'll give it a full 250 pixel blur, nice and soft, like so. There we have it, and that gives us a nice selection there. And again, we can still go back in with black if we want to and just paint it a bit more away, but that way is a nice way of doing it, because you get a nice smooth effect with it. So that's that. That's another curves layer, and we shall now move on to some noise and add some noise to the image. You could do this several ways. This is I'm going to show you a particular way that I like doing it. First of all, we need to go to new layer, set the mode to overlay, tick this box which says fill with overlay, neutral color 50%, and that's basically going to fill the layer with grey, as you see there. We can now go to filter, noise, add noise, and we can fill this layer with noise that we want, like so. Pretty straightforward and pretty easy. We can just stick that in and up in its own little group there, like so, and just call that noise. It's a good idea, I've mentioned it before, to put all your adjustments in their own little layers, little groups, sorry. It just keeps the whole place nice and tidy. Right now, to add a bit more drama again with the colour this time, I'm going to go to the adjustment layers. I'm going to pick out a gradient map. Now, I've used these a few times and they are a little bit fiddly, but they're worth persevering with. You get some really nice effects if you want to tone your image. Basically what this does, it applies a gradient to the luminosity values of the image. So you can bring up the gradient map box there and we just click on the little gradient bar there, and you've already got some presets already in Photoshop here. Which some of them are okay. That's a straightforward, I think black to white gradient, which is really intensifies the darker areas again. I actually quite like that, but a bit over the top. And there's all sorts already done for you. Here's the one that I've picked out. I've actually made up. And I'm just going to show you very quickly how we do this. Basically, you can add, by clicking underneath the bar here, you can add various stoppers. And the stoppers can be coloured like so. So if I click on the, this is the stopper I've just added. If I click on the colour here, I can pick out all sorts of different tones and colours. Now obviously being down this end, this is the shadow end of the tonal scale and this is the lighter end. Because obviously I'm down the shadow end, really I need to pick a tone that's fitting with that end. We don't have to, but obviously for unless you want some really weird effect, need to pick a tone that's appropriate for that end of the scale. So you can do that. You've also got these little sliders here which like graduate the effect. If you want to take a stopper out, you just grab it and pull. Okay, so this effect that I've had, I can slide this one up and you can see there's more of a, this is a bit of a green colour I've introduced into the picture. The further I pull that up into the highlights, the more the green creeps in to the highlights, but also the image gets denser. So you've got to be a bit careful of what you're doing. So the highlights here, this is the colour I've picked out. It's this kind of peachy colour, which I quite like. I could pull that down a little bit more and darken the highlights, or keep it up fairly high. I'm going to keep it where it is. I'm going to take a bit of the colour out of the image. You can just click OK, and I can just drag this this graduation bar up a little bit, and it just brings back a bit more highlight detail. So you can click on that and then click OK. You can click dither, that just smooths the effect a bit more. Reverse, basically reverse the effect, but again, unless you want some really weird effect, I wouldn't recommend playing around with that one. So there we have it. There's the before and there's the after applying a gradient effect. Now you can do all sorts of colour combinations with this, and also seeing as it's an adjustment layer, you can also drop the opacity if you think it's a bit too over the top. But I actually quite like that, so I'm not going to knock it down too much. So yeah, so you get some very good effects. Fortunately, I can't go into the whole details of that in this video because it just probably would take too long, but I have got a video I've just brought out which goes into more detail about that, and you'll see a little clip of the video after this one's finished. And there is our finished image. There's the before, there's the finish. So a big drastic change there, I think you'll agree. The other thing we can do just to finish it off is to add a new empty layer, and then go to the layers palette at the top here, and holding down the Alt key on the keyboard, select merge visible, And that's what that's going to do is create what we call a stamp, and all these layers here are going to be combined into this top layer. There we go. So I can turn all these off now if I wanted to. And then what we're going to do is to sharpen this, I'm going to do go to filter. I'm going to go to other and go to high pass. Okay. Just wait for that. Then just so I fiddle around with the radius setting here. Just make sure you get. You don't want to go too far up there, but just make sure you get enough of the highlights showing through. Click OK, and then we're gonna wait for that to render out and change the blend mode to soft light. If I just turn it off now, you can see the difference that's made. If you do want to affect the whole image, what you could do is do our usual trick: is add a layer mask. Fill the layer mask with black, that takes away the effect, and then with our paintbrush tool and foreground set to white, we could just selectively sharpen just the areas we want, like so. You've got to be careful to get it graduated in properly, otherwise it's going to look rather weird. But I'll leave the sharpening all on for this one. I'll just delete that layer mask, and there we go. There is our image finished. I hope you enjoyed that. Check out the videos at prophotoinsights.net, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.